Welcome to the Windy City Podcast. You see Alex Shapiro right there. I am Kenneth Davis. This is presented by Fansided. Bears lose to the Lions on the lakefront, 19-16. Two-point conversions. Offense, 3 and outs, turnover on downs, an interception. It was murky until the end, basically. And the Bears did what they've been doing all season. Staging the almost thrilling comeback. And the Lions reminded them that they are still at this point little brother. And that's kind of where we picked this up at. Frustrating. Bears backing into the second seed with the Eagles losing to the Lions. The Eagles running their most of. Thank you.
I got
losing to the Commanders. Appreciate it. With their backups in. Speaking of the Eagles, I believe it was 24-17 was the score out there. Bears back then will still get the second seed, meaning they will face the Packers, which fortunately is the best way for them to enter the playoffs, because we saw what happened with the 49ers. You probably don't want any of that Rams smoke. And I think we can get some turnovers from Sam Darnold, but hey, the NFC West is kind of like leave me alone right now as you enter the playoffs. You're going to have to face them if the Bears beat the Packers, but at least it gives us a game to celebrate the season, all right, and stomp on the Packers' faces as we go about it. But yeah, this game right here, I know defense, Alex, and I'm going to pitch it to you because I know you were hot and mad on the text chain.
I mean, it's just a really, if you're a Bears fan, it's an extremely disappointing effort, especially when the Bears make the decision, the correct decision, in my opinion, to go for the 2 seed, right? So first you're confronted with, hey, do we care about the 2 seed or are we fine with the 3 seed? Which is the Eagles made a very different decision. The Eagles decided to rest their starters. They said, whatever, even though we can lock up this 2 seed, we're sitting everybody down. We're doing the Tanner McGee show. And we're fine. We're fine with our fate as a 3 seed, even though the 2 seed is available to us. The Bears said, no, we are going to go for this 2 seed, which again, I think was the right decision. There are plenty of benefits to having the 2 seed. We've talked about it a bunch on past episodes, so you can listen to our past episodes. But then after making that decision, to put forth the effort that we saw for 3 quarters was a little bit mystifying. I mean, the Lions, who had absolutely nothing to play for other than pride, pun semi-intended, pride, Lions, lion, pride, yada, yada. The Lions just had way more juice, out-physicaling the Bears, seemed to want it more than the Bears on offense and on defense. And, like halfway through, if you didn't know anything about football and you said one of these teams is playing for playoff seeding and one of these teams is getting ready to go to Cancun, I guarantee everybody watching that football game who didn't know would be like, oh, it's obviously the Lions who are playing for the playoffs, who still have something to go for, and it's the Bears who are mailing it in, because that's what it looked like. So that's, to me, what was a bit mystifying. And yes, I know that they turned it on in the 4th quarter and they tried to do their cardiac Bears thing one more time. But I think that was what was most discouraging. Again, was just they looked underprepared. They looked like the effort wasn't there. They didn't look like they wanted to be there, which is like, okay, if you're going to fight for this thing, if you're going to trot out there and put your bodies in harm's way, you want to be going 100%, right? Because once you start mailing it in, that's when bad things happen. So, yeah, that was really my main takeaway, is that for a large portion of that game, it was like, Bears, do you really want this? Why are you playing your starters?
Okay, one, I'll say I want to get to the decision part. The Eagles already have been a Super Bowl champ. And even if you look at last season, where going forward, we kind of talked about this, the Eric Dickerson's record, Saquon side out that last game. They kind of done something similar last year when it's like, we don't care. We'll play anywhere because they've won it and they've beaten people in different places. Bears haven't. Bears need everything to stack up for them. So they need the second seed because, like I alluded to at the open, they don't need to play the NFC West going into the playoffs. The Bears need at least 2 playoff games for maturity's sake and to further build this program. And that's if they beat the Packers. And we'll talk about that later on this week. I think we have to look at Dennis Allen with this one, because when looking at effort, I think the Bears came out flat, but I don't think it was as much as effort as they may have just be emotionally worn down, on top of everybody knows what they're doing on defense now. And they can't hide the things that they can hide. I'll say this, they better go out and draft a nickel and pick up a nickel cornerback, particularly with Dennis, particularly just for the NFL in general, because you're playing nickel majority of the time. All right, there you have 2 linebackers out there and 5 DBs. But one, because you can't count on Kyler Gordon to be healthy. 2, we don't know how Kyler Gordon is going to be within this program. We talked about that too. And you can't count on CJ Gardner-Johnson. I know a lot of people were referring to, we need that type of attitude, and that is cool, but it ain't cool in coverage. You know, like it's not. Yeah. He's getting beat. You can't hide him. You know what I'm saying? Even it's different. If it's different being like, you know what, let's not put him in nickel. Maybe we'll move him, you know, back and play some type of safety. You can't hide him. You know what I'm saying? And he's getting eaten up. And only way he benefits you in a way is if he's a blitzing, almost half the time a blitzing DB, which tells that the offense what's coming and what side is coming from, damn near, you know? So I think a lot of it is everything that we've been talking about with the defense is broken right now, if we're just being honest. And it's not terrible. I mean, they still were able to make sure that the Lions didn't score in the red zone as many times as they should have, but the bend and don't break. And the longer the season goes on, the more it gets to breaking, particularly if you don't get pressure. Austin Booker flashed again in this game. It wasn't the same as the last game, but he had a lot of near pressures or sacks came from him, creating some pressures to send Jared Goff in another direction. But the real problem is the front four. And then also the linebackers haven't looked the same since they've really been healthy. You know, so like that, I mean, we can't expect for the offense at this point to do what it did last week. We can expect for it to be better. I'm not trying to give them an excuse, but at some point, you have to stop the opposing team's offense to get them off the field to, one, give your offense more snaps at the ball. When we're talking about the amount of ball, the amount of time that the Lions had the ball, we're talking about time of possession, 35 to 24. And I mean, the first half, I mean, the Bears had like 3 series basically in the first half of the game.
That's crazy in the first half.
Yes, that's crazy. The amount of time that the Lions were able to matriculate up and down the field, on top of that, getting big chunks at times. It's one thing to have a team matriculating and they're getting 4 to 5 yards on the carry. They're getting digs. They're taking chunks out of you. The fact that the linebackers don't know when receivers are sitting down in front of them, they aren't where they need to be at. And again, the lack of pressure, and that's going to be the thing that blows up in the Bears' face in the playoffs against better offensive teams, smarter coaches, and better players. But again, hey, they're the 2nd seed, and it's been a great season. But that loss, it could have been worse. I'll tell you this: if they hadn't scored the 16 points, it would have been a little bit more fire coming out of us. Just because then everything didn't work. You know, seeing that the team wasn't able to stop the Bears, knowing they were going for 2 is a good feeling. Knowing that the Bears we can do what we want to do in this situation moving forward. Caleb has some missed shots. Caleb had times where he needed to get rid of the ball quicker. Just rid of
bad decision throwing that ball to DJ Moore. And another instance where, I mean, Maddox just bodies DJ Moore. That's kind of like an opportunity where it's like, okay, Caleb, maybe take the wide open guy in the middle rather than going for the home run there. But you know what? He's a gunslinger. He's going to let it rip. That's a perfect example of the Lions just like completely out physicaling DJ Moore as well.
That's a great point.
Where, I mean, DJ Moore's knocked off the route almost immediately.
You got to fight too.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, okay, yeah, that was tough. He was really well covered, right? That's really good defense. It's not like DJ Moore was like wide open. He
Right.
was well
But try to
covered.
knock the ball down too. I
Yeah,
mean,
he just got like knocked, and then that was that. He was out of the play.
right. Right. So Caleb was 20 for 35, 212 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 86.9. On the flip side, Jared Goff was 27 to 42, 331 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception, and a passer rating less than Caleb's of 86.5. Man.
I
I
feel,
I'm
yeah.
Go ahead. What are you about to say?
I was gonna say, I feel like we got to talk more about the defense.
I do. I definitely do. I just don't feel like feeling bad as my evening closes out because Alex, it makes you think about, and I know we've been doing this the last couple of weeks. It makes you look to the playoffs and try to figure out how things may play out, and in all fairness, how well can they play out if the defense is playing like that and Dennis Allen isn't able to figure out something? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and again, I put it on him, but the injuries have played a part and the personnel has played a part. I mean, man, to sit there and have Monty and Gibbs didn't have a Gibbs game. Gibbs had 80 rushing yards. David Montgomery had 42. Neither scored a touchdown. But man, the power, the will that they was imbuing. I mean, you had Jahmyr Gibbs. He hasn't really had a good game in weeks. Yeah. Believe me, I know. He's been on my fantasy team. He hasn't had a good game in weeks. And this was one of the better games for him. Just power rushing more than, of course, he scored that touchdown. That was pretty too. And when you're running back and pull that off and do that. Yeah. But what were you about to say? Go ahead.
No, it's just tough. I almost feel for Dennis Allen, and it is tough. You go on Bears Twitter right now. People are mad at Dennis Allen. It's like, oh, how quickly you forget. It's unreal how much of a "what have you done for me lately" city this becomes after Dennis Allen put on a masterclass for like 12 weeks of this season. Obviously, Dennis Allen likes to play man defense. That was no secret. It got talked about a lot when he got hired. And it's also no secret that Dennis Allen likes to blitz more than Matt Eberflus. No secret. We saw it all. But it almost seems like things have started to catch up for the Bears, especially, and I'll throw the CJ Gardner-Johnson of it all into this, right? The Dennis Allen was hitting the buttons and seemed to have the magic touch earlier. He had the feel for who to bring at what time, and he was having a ton of success. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think, joined this team at the absolute perfect time when they absolutely needed him. You mentioned the attitude. I think we felt that jolt. Like coming through the TV screen, we could feel that jolt that he brought. And he brought the blitzing that was so sorely needed. And he brought some takeaway stuff. Now, he's still taking the ball away a little bit. But as you said, like secrets out on CJ Gardner-Johnson and the Dennis Allen defense. And the blitzing has been less effective. CJ Gardner-Johnson has done really well playing zone, keeping his eyes in front of everything and giving himself the opportunity to undercut throws, make plays on the ball, et cetera, et cetera. But he's got to play man coverage as well. And now a few weeks in a row, we have seen that that's where this Achilles heel might be, which is where maybe some of the personnel and the scheme aren't lining up so much, right? The Bears played a lot of man, and it was CJ Gardner-Johnson getting beat. It was Nashawn Wright getting beat. It was Jalen Johnson getting beat. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown beating them. It was Khalif Raymond beating them. It was Jameson Williams beating them. And we've seen this. We can go back to, Christian Watson with the Packers, et cetera, et cetera. Like this is the issue, right? And then you see 3rd and 9, right? This is where I'm kind of getting at, where it's like, Dennis Allen, what do you do? Okay, so the blitzing isn't working, right? 3rd and 9. The Vikings last week blitzed Jared Goff and the Lions to death. I mean, they brought it. And it turned into 5 takeaways. And you're probably thinking, okay, hey, blitzing is how we've created pressure. And takeaways are our thing. So let's do the same thing. Let's bring the heat. and let's create some takeaways. And what happens? Jared Goff is much better against the blitz this time. They pick it up. He puts it right where he needs to be. He's an extremely accurate quarterback. Jared Goff is remains one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't know how. Beats the blitz. Okay, let's try something different. It's a third and medium this time. Okay, now we're going to rush 4 because the blitz didn't work, and we're going to play zone because that's a little bit better. But what happens? Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a great veteran, great slot receiver, great feel. I mean, great everything. Dude's a dynamite wide receiver. Just finds the soft spot. Jared Goff picks apart the zone. Where it's like, ugh. As the Bears start playing these highly accurate quarterbacks, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, highly accurate quarterbacks, if they have to play Matt Stafford again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. These teams seem ready for the blitz. When they do this mug look, when they do this cover 0 look that they've put on tape all year long, and they're running back, they're catching these guys out of place before they can run all the way back in coverage. We're just going to put the ball over the top of you. Oh, you're going to play zone now? All right, we'll find the soft spot. Oh, you're going to play man? We're going to run right by you, where it's like, they had a lot of magic. But at least recently, if the Bears aren't capitalizing on a mistake, if the Bears aren't forcing a fumble, if the Bears aren't taking the ball away, it's been a lot of can't get off the field. It's been a lot of teams chewing up clock with long drives and keeping the Bears offense off the field. And I don't know what Dennis Allen should do. If I was Dennis Allen right now, I would also be like, man, what? Okay, blitzing isn't working. All right, man, coverage isn't working. All right, zone isn't working. What is this team supposed to do? And they miss Kyler Gordon. Jalen Johnson doesn't seem healthy. The linebackers aren't playing as well as they had been before their injuries. The front four has been an issue. It just feels like a lot of stuff has kind of caught up with them, where they finally get the interception, and then on offense, they can't take advantage of it. When they were getting 3 takeaways a game, they had more bites at that apple to take advantage. Right. But the one, it's like, okay, if this is your one takeaway, the Bears offense needs to take advantage. They weren't able to do that against the Packers once. And then they weren't able to do that against why am I blanking? Who the hell did this team play? The Lions. A little brain dead. It's been a long year. They weren't able to do that against the Lions and Jared Goff today. They had their one opportunity. They go 3 and out. So it's just tough sledding sometimes, man.
I think the Lions did have something to play for. That was their culture. And they play for that. And this goes back to them knocking Green Bay out of the playoffs a couple seasons ago. And that Dan Campbell has built a culture that its staying power is fantastic. And that's what hopefully the Bears have this season. The Lions have been beaten by injuries for several of the last years, particularly on defense. I want to say this about the Vikings game. Brian Flores knows his personnel. He's been there for what now? 3 years, I believe. This is his 3rd season. And every year they've had more players, talent added to that team, because when the first year he got there, they didn't have as much talent. And I don't know if Daniil Hunter was healthy much that season. So he's going to know. Also, he's been in the NFC North now for 3 years, so he's going to know how to go after Jared Goff with his personnel. I'm using that to explain Dennis Allen. One thing about this with Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen does deserve blame, at some point the blitz has to get home. Like, how often do the Bears blitz and send 5, if not 6, and nobody gets jack? Like, I'm sending them. I'm sending, like, what do you want me to do? I'm sending them, right? Like, I'm doing it. That comes to effort and grit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they can't get home on their own. I'm sending more. You know what I'm saying? I'm sending more, and they're not doing it. And then, leading what you're talking about with the mug, it leaves more space underneath for them to be able to take advantage, let alone the team with the Lions with Amon-Ra St. Brown and everything that he can do. So yeah, I'm upset with Dennis Allen, but I'm upset with these players. Like, the waveless front four. Man, there was a play where they had a it wasn't a screen, it was like a delayed drift for Gibbs, I believe. And Sweat all Sweat really need to do was get closer to Gibbs and stay in between him and Jared Goff. And he took a bad angle and it allowed Jared Goff to get the ball to Gibbs. And it's like that, where it's like, hold up, some of this, your football IQ has to be smarter. All right. Like this is ridiculous with when we're talking about the pressure. And Dennis Allen can't strap a helmet on. All right. Like at some point. So if you can't play man and you can't play zone, what the hell is he supposed to do? What? We talking about your physical corner is out, Tyreek Stevenson. Then, because I was thinking as you were talking, you mentioned Dennis Allen liked to play man. The guys that you would want with a healthy Jalen Johnson and putting his hands on defenders, the same with Tyreek, even though Tyreek can get beaten, but still stopping guys, kind of knock them off the route at the line of scrimmage or right after, they're out, and Jalen is nowhere near the same, right? So, like, at some point, injuries are going to come home to roost, and they've been roosting. Dennis Allen has had this defense play way above its talent majority of the damn season. All right, let's give that man that. And look, but let's hold him. If this ain't better next year and they have a better down lineman and the same happens, well, we're going to get on his ass. All right. But I mean, this right here, like guess what? Those guys just picked up some checks this past week. You know what I'm saying? Like their bank accounts increased. So they're not doing it for the love. They're doing it for the check. And they got to earn them damn checks. This cat's not earning their keep on that line. It's just, and I don't even like talking like this. But it's been all year, all season. All right, how many games has Montez Sweat missed this year? I don't know if he's missed any.
Yeah,
how many sacks does he have? Because I know it doesn't end and begin with double digits. All right,
Kenneth, what if I told you it does? What if I told you this season Montez Sweat has 10 sacks?
It's damn near meaningless. It's damn near, and y'all know what I mean.
He had half a sack today. That gave him 10 sacks.
Not the half.
hey, man!
Shout out to
double
Myles
digit
Garrett.
sacks.
Shout out to Myles Garrett breaking the record.
That's good. Might be an extra point.
But
might be an extra point of mine. That might be my extra point. It's Myles Garrett.
It's the weakest 10 sacks I felt as a Bears fan. Right? Like, how many were situational? How many of these sacks altered a game? You know what I'm saying? And it's not even just the sacks; it's the pressures.
He had a few strip sacks.
He had a few strip sacks. Stop bailing water from Montez Sweat.
Hey,
all right, you're on the USS Sweat, and you are dumping buckets off of this boat.
There was like a 4-game stretch, and I know you went off on this.
Oh my god!
Are you ready for some more?
Oh my!
There was like a 4-game stretch in the middle of the season.
I forgot. I'll take everything back because I forgot he only gets paid for 4 weeks. I forgot about that part. His check only cleared for those 4 weeks.
Oh man,
to look
from
at
November, man. In November, he was real good.
In November, he was.
Somebody make a
T-shirt. Somebody make a T-shirt for that. In November, he was real good because that's when the season ended.
Hey,
so wait, Alex. Alex,
game.
Just wait.
Four
so what you just said, so most of those sacks came in November. We're in January, bro. We're in January. Yeah. So down the stretch, he was gone. He was ghost. Johnny was like, I did my job. Alex said for 4 weeks. Deuces. Man. Dude, Grady Jarrett is past his prime. Same with Billings. The Dexter thing, I guess he's around. I don't think you need to talk. Listen, I want to know what that extension is going to look like because it better not be crazy if you plan on keeping him. And Austin Booker seems like he could have potential to be in a wave or two. But man, this whole thing. All right.
Can I share some more Montez Sweat nonsense for you to bat down, to swat away?
Please anger me.
Montez Sweat had 9 games with a sack and 8 games without. So he had more games with a sack than he had games without a sack. For those who are just listening on audio and not watching on YouTube, by the way, you can watch all our episodes on YouTube if you're listening on audio. Kenneth is sitting in silence with his hands at the bridge of his nose tilted down.
Because I don't root against players. I don't like criticizing people making their money. That's not one of my things. I think some people go to that too quickly. All right. But this isn't a situation where you're the fourth dude on the defensive line. You're the number one guy. All right. In central casting, your name's at the top. All right. You're the star on this defense, you and Jalen Johnson primarily. And you've had one good season. And that you're the lightning rod that gets everybody else going, because we've seen what the Tez effect can do. We've seen if you get to going, other guys are like, I want some of that too, right? It's more dogs on the bone. And it's been worthless the last 2 seasons. All right. Yeah, he helped in some games in November, but Thanksgiving's been gone. All right. We're putting up Valentine's stuff now. All right. Like that's the season we're in. We skipped Christmas. All right. This man brought us no gift. He brought us coal. All right. For Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa. Nothing but coal. All right. Bags and bags of it, like a Jiminy Sweet. All right. A lot of coal around here, like we're powering trains. All right. That's what he's brought us. You know, if you live in Chicago, them old coal, concrete built up stone brick things is in the end of the backyard. You know, most of them are gone, but that's where he's delivering his ash and his coal to. Or the side of the house has the milk thing and it has the coal thing. Montez Sweat is using those things. He chipped the paint free. That's what we got. Sweaty ass. Man, I'm mad, dude. I'm because again, if this dude just balled out, it will cover so much of what is going on with that D line. It would. Now, do you know if he had, and I mean like 15 sacks, but I meant like they were game changing. Man, I would be on here giving him all the props in the world. And I'm not just talking about just 5 more sacks. I mean the pressure. I mean the example being set to the other players. I mean, think about if you're those DBs and you're getting coverage INTs, basically. Because how many of these INTs, let's say they haven't been some, were due to pressure. You know what I'm saying? Like, at some point, I would love a defensive lineman to bail me out, you know, if I'm sitting there on the back end. And that, again, with all the Dennis Allen dislike, and not to say that Dennis Allen doesn't deserve something, but no, Warren Sapp and Reggie White weren't walking through that door. All right. And be like, well, Dennis, you didn't put them in. Then wake me up when one of them walks through the door. He had the same guys who was barely doing anything last year, right? Doing the exact same thing this season with some sprinkle of some guys that was on other people's practice squads, basically balling out. And we sitting here crying about it's Dennis Allen's fault. Where how you like it served up, man or zone, because you're gonna get it good any way you like it. All right. I like it when you face me. I like it when you face the quarterback. Oh no, I like it with your back to the whatever. You're still gonna get it good as your opposing team's offense. This is just it's frustrating. Entering the playoffs, it's really frustrating. Because this team could really have gone further. I'm not saying they can win it all because you still have a young quarterback that's learning. You still have a young coach that's learning. And that's something too, where one thing we're going to have to think about, and we're going to have to talk about this, how much does Dan Campbell know about Ben Johnson? Like, because you know, in Chicago, we diss Detroit a lot, but Detroit is the cream of the NFC North. It's not the Packers. It's not the Vikings. It's been Detroit. Detroit's been the team where, yeah, Green Bay seemed like they had a younger team a couple years ago ascending. Green Bay, just like when Aaron Rodgers was there, they don't really fulfill what they have on that roster a lot of times. Remember all them MVPs Aaron Rodgers had 5 years ago, and they did diddly squat in the playoffs with it? That's still the Green Bay Packers for the most part. But Detroit, they'll just have a bad game or half a game in the playoffs. But as a foundational program, they're sound as hell under Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell knows more of Ben Johnson than Ben Johnson knows Dan Campbell to a degree, because he was studying under Dan Campbell, like for real. And that's something where Ben Johnson's really going to have to look at undoing some Ben Johnson things, that he learned while he was their offensive coordinator that clearly they know is you have a fondness for, and this is kind of what you enjoy doing throughout the game.
Yeah, no, I think it's time to talk offense as well, because it does feel like the Bears will probably be held back by their defense, but their defense has done a good job of bend, don't break to a degree, except for, end of that game. I know they gave up a touchdown, but the Bears are now held scoreless in the first half, 0 points in the first half, 2 of their last 3 games, both divisional opponents. They did put up big points early against San Francisco. They did put big points up against the Browns early, but week before that, slow start, only 3 points against the Packers in the first half. And then we get to the Eagles game where they had 10 points. But the over the past few months, over the past few things, especially against these divisional teams, and these divisional games are all important. The Bears have had slow starts on offense. And you know what? We should go back and I'll remedy it. The 49ers game, obviously 7 of those points came on an opening play pick 6. So half of those first quarter points were provided by the defense, where now whatever's working for the Chicago Bears in the fourth quarter is working for the Chicago Bears in the third quarter. They gotta figure out a way to play more consistent offensive football throughout the entire game. The run game has taken a step back. Kyle Monangai against the Lions was extremely ineffective. DeAndre Swift has been held back. He was held back again. So this is a situation where today felt like a 2018 Bears moment, where it's like the 2018 Bears, the defense was lights out and they were scoring on defense and they had all these splashy plays. And it's just like somehow, some way, the Bears are finding a way to win another football game. And then what happened in the playoffs, they didn't have that magic. They were kind of exposed. Interestingly, the Bears offense put themselves in a position to win that football game, right? They went up in the fourth quarter, Mitch Trubisky to Allen Robinson, but then the defense let them down, and then the missed field goal. We don't have to rehash all of that. But there were flaws. There were flaws in that 2018 team. There were flaws in that 2018 offense that just got exposed more and more as the year went on. And it just feels like if the Bears aren't creating 2-3 takeaways on defense, they have not found a way to get off the field, even though they had been so good on third down, which is so wild. Lately, they have not been able to get off the field, and they have not been able to maintain any kind of consistent anything on offense. They have been decent in have it moments. They've still gotten a fair share of explosives. They've been very explosive, but they are still missing the, hey, we put together a full 60 minutes here. The Eagles game, they put together a full 60 minutes. It's hard to do in the NFL. But with health at quarterback, with relative help or health up front, again, we talked about it in our last week's episode. Bears have an opportunity here where the Eagles don't look like the Eagles. The Rams are banged up. The Niners are banged up. Seattle looks awfully good. Seattle does look awfully good. But Patrick Mahomes isn't playing in these playoffs. It just looks like an opportunity, and the Bears okay, are we getting greedy because of the Bears ahead of schedule? Yes, we're getting greedy here. We're getting greedy. But when the window is open, and the Bears have shown that they are capable of winning this season, and health is never guaranteed, and these opportunities are never guaranteed. Look at the Washington Commanders, who lose Jaden Daniels and go down. Look at the 2018 Bears and how it all fell apart. Vic Fangio got a job and left. And I'm not suggesting that something like that is going to happen. Obviously, Ben Johnson is here for a while. I don't know that Dennis Allen is going to be getting another head coaching job. I would imagine Dennis Allen is still around.
Yeah, they're not that good this year.
No, exactly. But my point is, windows open and close. Look at the Detroit Lions, who looked like shoo-ins for the Super Bowl, right? They were so close to going to the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden they get knocked out by those upstart Commanders, and now this year they will not be participating in the playoffs. Things change fast. Opportunities are rare. And and it did seem like the Bears might have had some sort of opportunity here, but they got things that they've got to shore up. They've got things that they've got to shore up before honestly, I think they should be considered favored at all. I'll be interested to see if the Bears are favored against the Packers next week or not.
Yeah, they will be. Colston Loveland had 13 targets for 10 receptions, 91 yards, a touchdown, and a long of 27 yards. Luther Burden had 4 targets, 3 receptions, 35 yards, and long of 13. Ja Walker, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 36 yards, 1 touchdown, and a long of 25. Colston Loveland has really can't come on. I was just looking at who he'll always be connected to. Ty Warren has 71 receptions this season. He had 104 targets for 791 yards and 4 TDs. He averaged 11.1 yards a reception. Colston had 69 targets for 48 receptions, only like 140 yards difference, 622 yards, average 13 yards. He has more touchdowns by 1. He has 5 touchdowns this season. Colston Loveland really has been balling lately. Like, and Cole Kenneth took a wallop when he caught that 2-point conversion in the end zone.
That was a big boy catch.
Yeah, that right there. Seeing what 12 and 13 personnel could be in the future for this team as they get better. Darnell Wright has to improve playing against top flight defenders. That has to be the next step if he's going to be one of the better tackles within the NFL. Austin Booker, this last couple of games, he's been an agitator of the opposing team. There's some questions, but there are some pluses. Again, we said this the last show. Fantastic draft class. You had Triple O out. Theo Benedict was in today. But we look forward. I mean, again, I'm going to convey my anger because I think a lot of us feel like this. I'm not going to come here and be phony. I'm not going to be phony. Sorry.
Interesting development, Kenneth. I opened up two of the leading books. I opened up DraftKings and FanDuel. DraftKings, the Bears, 1.5 point underdogs. Minus 115. 1.5 point underdogs at home to the Green Bay Packers. FanDuel, Bears 1.5 point favorites, but that's paying even money. So 1.5 point favorites, but that's paying even money. So the books split. Books maybe don't know what to do with this one yet. So that's mighty interesting to me. The FanDuel and DraftKings are split on this one.
Well, we'll see. We'll have to see if the line changes throughout the week, depending on who's healthy and who's not healthy. But again, they got the best thing they could possibly get as far as the matchups. The Bears have played the Green Bay Packers well this season, even losing one game with that interception and then coming back to win the last game. And we saw what happened with the 49ers, and I don't think that's the route you want to go right away entering the playoffs. So they get the favorable matchup against their bitter rival. And at least then, not saying that should be the be-all, end-all, but if the best part of this postseason is that the Bears beat the Pack, and then we go into the offseason and after the next playoff game, we will celebrate. Definitely contextually, how they lose, if they lose the next game, will be discussed and bandied about. But getting a victory in the playoffs for a first year program against one of the better teams, a team that was picked perhaps make it to the Super Bowl, definitely after, before making a big time trade prior to the season, but definitely after making a big time trade. It says a lot about your program. And there's been a ton to celebrate this year, and we will get back to celebrating once whatever happens to end this year happens. But just this game and this loss against, it seemed like the Bears were doing a lot of paybacks, and we didn't get a chance to pay the Lions back for what they did to the Bears at the beginning of the season.
No, they did not.
Almost pulled it off, but they weren't able to pull it off.
It's interesting you say that, and I think that's a really important step back, Kenneth. I think that's a really important step back and a really important like context here, because like, yeah, that was once again for 45 minutes a pretty pitiful performance by the Bears, and then they turned it on in the fourth quarter, right? But I think if you asked anybody in the city of Chicago who's a Bears fan, hey, by year's end, by the end of week 18, the Bears will have 11 wins and will have won the NFC North. Every single person is like, hell yeah, sign me up. Huge success. Huge success. I'll raise my hand. Nobody was picking the Bears to make the playoffs, including me. I'm sure there were some people out there. It was not a popular choice for the Bears to make the playoffs in the NFC North. First-time head coach, second year, Caleb Williams, lots of question marks. So again, step back, year one of Ben Johnson, restarting a program, 11 wins, division title, first playoff appearance since 2020 in a vacuum, big picture. You obviously have to be thrilled. Is it frustrating because you can see the potential? It's there, right? When the Bears are clicking, they're so good. Like truly, when they're on, they're on. So that's what makes it frustrating when they're really off, which sometimes they are really off.
Mm-hmm. Great point.
So there is a duality there, and I think that's really great context, right? If you just take right, let's go back to July 2025. 11 wins, NFC North title. People aren't even asking about what the Bears do in the playoffs. Like, hell yeah. Mission accomplished, baby.
Right.
Start the parade.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Alex. Great way to put it. Anything else you want to say before we get to you got game balls, or is there anything you want?
No, dude, it's a loss. No game balls from me in a loss.
I'm with you. I'm fine with that. I'm with you. I was just checking. I was just making sure. What's your extra point?
My extra point, as we talked about briefly, Myles Garrett. I mean, hats off to the best season a defensive end has ever had. I don't care that it happened in 17 games, one bit. Myles Garrett is so good, so dominant, has been the best defensive player in the NFL since Aaron Donald retired. And what a fantastic cap in a feather for a Hall of Fame player. And here's why I don't care that it took him 17 games, because Michael Strahan, Watt, these guys played on good football teams.
That's a great point.
Myles Garrett is doing this. Browns never playing from ahead. He never gets the opportunity to just pin his.
They're like the third most run team. They're like the third most run on team because everyone is sitting there playing with a lead, so they're not even throwing the ball, and he got all those sacks.
Exactly. Like this dude is doing it on a bad team with few opportunities. He is the guy everybody is focused on. He still got 23 sacks. Absolutely absurd. And I think we should also celebrate the man behind the player, because he is also one of the league's upright, upstanding citizens. This guy is dedicated to philanthropy, gives so much back to the city of Cleveland. He's had his Water Boys campaigns where in years past, he donated $5,000 for every sack he had to providing clean water for people. Often in Cleveland has his back to school drives where he's
given all sorts of kids in Cleveland school supplies, new clothes, new haircuts to get them ready for the school year. So wonderful man on the field, wonderful man off the field. Bravo, Myles Garrett, on, again, the best season a defensive end has ever had in NFL history.
And my extra point will go to the Washington Commanders, because without you, it's a good chance the Bears may get their ass kicked next week if they were facing an NFC West team, and allowing the storyline of the season to go into a more favorable way of perhaps the Bears beating the Pack, which that's a nice button on whatever may happen this season. So thank you, Commanders, and the Eagles for benching their players. Let me also give extra
And
point.
shout out Tanner McKee.
So let me put that out there. So yeah, and also this is another thing too. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Yeah.
Extra point. We made it another year. Some of us didn't make it. I've lost people. Everyone's lost people. Pray for blessings on theirs. But we made it another year. Make this year a better year than what last year was. And support us. All right. Support us so hard that we just keep blowing up. All right. If you like, don't you want this to be big? Don't you want us back in the majors?
like and subscribe, please. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.
All right. We'll be back this week to preview the Bears versus the Pack in Soldier Field in the playoffs. All right. In the playoffs.
3, baby. Round 3. We're going 3 rounds.
3 rounds. All right. So within a month and a half, 3 times. This is the Thriller in Manila. I believe that may have been the third one.
Or was it the Rumble in the Jungle?
Rumble in the Jungle? Rumble in the Jungle or Manila? Thriller in Manila.
You get where we're going. All right. You get where we're going. But we'll be back this week to preview the game. And of course, we'll be here with Bales on to discuss the Bears' victory after said game takes place next weekend. We should know the times by the time we do the preview game. Again, Happy New Year. Thank you for spending this time after Bears wins, after Bears losses, with me and this guy talking some. We'll see you in a few days.